Yeah, I definitely wanted to take a peek at this video here. Um, we have Nebelsnarf, which is a monster in the game. So we're gonna check out their video. They are ranking every monster for Monster Hunter, and it looks like they're going from generation to generation. So some of these monsters I may not even know. So I'm actually kind of excited for this list. Let's open this up and let's take a peek.
Monster Hunter has 270 large monsters, and I've hunted them all. So today I'm going to be ranking all 200 plus monsters from the main series and Frontier, except for event monsters like Behemoth and Leishan, and also no Zeniths.
Because Behemoth is #1, it's not even close.
Time to rank some. Oh fuck. The tiers from worst to best are Vile Creature, bad, not cool, alright, cool, amazing, peak monster. I'm going to be ranking monsters purely based off their fight and design. The only
Okay, fight and design, I can get behind that.
time I'm going to go into detail for a monster's ranking is if I really like them, or if they make me think unpleasant thoughts.
Are you also doing deviants as well? Like, you know, there's a Crimson Fatalis, a regular Fatalis, White Fatalis. Are you doing all that?
If a monster doesn't fit into one of those categories, then I'll just keep the exclamation short or skip over them entirely. One thing before I start, this video was recorded before Sunbreak Title Update 4, so if Velkhana somehow...
You guys hear? That's my dog snoring, or whatever the hell it's doing.
becomes a vile creature in that time, and I don't mention it, that's why. If it's not Velkhana, then I just sound really stupid right now. Gen 1, Visarios, vile creature. Already starting off strong. Rocks aren't very exciting to fight, and the rock will put you to...
I absolutely hate fighting this monster. I understand his design is meant to be like annoying because you have to break off its rocks pieces and whatnot in order to do damage to the monster. I fucking hate it. I don't know about you guys, but I fucking hate it so much.
Sleep is even less fun to fight. Cephadrome, you could sit right next to Visarios. Majority of Cephadrome's fight is just chasing him. Sure, you could use sonic bombs, but you can...
I was gonna say, all he does is run and flop around. It's very annoying. I agree.
Only hold so many before running out. Diablo.
I also do love that he's using the switch axe. I mean, just on that alone, we're liking the video automatically. We're subbing to the channel automatically. Switch axe is the best weapon in the game. If you don't know, now you know. Diablos, I'd say he's pretty cool. Top, man.
I slightly don't like Diablos because he took the spotlight away from Monoblos, who is just infinitely better. Fatalis. Can't place God anywhere but peak monster.
Yeah,
I'm one who likes Fatalis's first gen fight, but World definitely blew.
I've never fought him in the original game, but I did fight him in World, and that's like, out of all the Monster Hunter games that I played, this whole siege quest or whatever the hell it is, it's by far the coolest fight in any Monster Hunter game that I've ever played.
All other iterations of Fatalis out of the water, even including Conquest Fatalis from Frontier. One of the reasons why I love World so much is because of the Fatalis fight. World improves the fight drastically by giving him more than 3 moves. Castle Straight is one of the best maps in Monster Hunter, and yet again, World's redesign of it was amazing. Crimson Fatalis. Red God isn't as cool as God, but cool enough not to be placed in cool. Crimson Fatalis isn't all that different from Fatalis, other than giving him a dive move and meteors. Also, Ingo Isles and Battlegrounds are very boring areas compared to Castle Shrade and Tower. Gendrome, probably my least favorite drome.
You're low.
You could go not cool.
Yep.
Gravios. You think removing the rocks from Visarios would make the fight better, but it doesn't. Dipteros is very ugly and annoying. But fooling the hunter by playing dead is pretty funny, so I won't put him in Vile Creature. He could go in bad. Iron Drome. Got a pretty wicked mohawk, but I'll put him in not cool. Kezu. He's just a penis. There's really not...
I mean, he's not wrong.
Not much more to say. A lot of people don't like the fact that Kezu has no theme, but I think it adds a lot of eeriness to the fight. Alright. Kieran.
Oh, I love Kieran. I think Kieran's peak.
Going cool. Lao Shenlong. I
think I fought this monster before. Mega Arena. I don't know. I
love Lao's design so much.
I'd say
if this tier list was based off design, I'd put him in peak monster. But his fight is very boring, so he's gonna go in bad.
That's true. The fight is very boring. It's very long. It's very annoying. You gotta move over here. You gotta load up the barrels. He's slowly crawling through his area. That's very true.
The
I didn't
fight is
think
just
about
waiting
that.
for him to load into the next zone. You could leave your game on, go to your kitchen, cook a 5-star meal for a family 5, eat it, come back, and Lao still won't be fully
It's
loaded
very
into the
true.
next area.
That's
This
very
fight
true.
didn't get improved that much in GU. It's just he has to walk less, so it's less waiting. Biggest problem with gigantic and siege monsters before Gen 4 is they don't do much and they have a very little move pools.
That's very true.
Monoblos, peak monster. Yes, he's 2 tiers higher than Diablos, despite their fight being practically the same. Suck it, Diablos. You know what they say, one horn is better than 2. Monoblos is the final village boss of Monster Hunter 1, so he holds a special place in a
I've
lot
never
of
fought
hunters'
him.
hearts. Plesioth. I don't know why,
Oh,
but every
God.
time I
Very
fight
annoying.
Plesioth, all I think about is
Very annoying, but in 3U, I guess that's the only place that I fought him that I can remember. But in 3U, whenever you had the water fights were amazing. Still very annoying because he ran like a lot of the time, but
the Bash
I
Pro
don't know.
Shop logo.
Maybe not
People
cool.
would put Plesioth in Vile Creature without hesitation, but his underwater fight is actually pretty good. But that's only in
That's what I
one
was saying.
game, so
Not
he's
cool.
not going very far from Vile Creature. Rathalos, the Pikachu.
Oh, Rathalos. Yeah, I mean, you'd have, I don't know if peak is the top, but I would maybe say one or two underneath
For
it.
the franchise. Rathalos goes in Rathalos tier. Azure Rathalos.
That's very fair that it has its own tier.
I want to make it very clear that I hate
Very
this thing,
fair.
and I'll never forgive it for replacing Brachydios on the box art of 3U, but I'm kinda legally obligated to put it in Rathalos tier. Rathian does not go in the Rathian tier, that'd just be dumb. First and second gen Rathian, I hate a lot because it just does not
I love
stop going
Rathian.
back and forth over
Fun
and over
monster.
again. But third gen to present day Rathian isn't that bad. I'll put her in alright. Velocidrome, the first monster.
all the way on the bottom.
Not much more to say. Put him in cool. Yangaruga, or I like to call him Kyle from Despicable Me.
I'd say he's pretty
Yangaruga
cool.
is just Gypsaros without the funny and flashbangs. Yangaruga in World isn't that bad though. Not cool. Both Yankakus can join Yangaruga and not cool.
Yeah, I agree
Gen
with
2,
that.
Blanganga. I have no feeling towards this monster,
I hate
so
this
he
thing.
can just go in alright. Copper Blanganga. I do have feelings for this monster, and
One
it
up.
isn't positive, so he could go in not cool. Kangalala. Farting is the pinnacle of comedy.
Very
but in
annoying.
Monster Hunter, when you get farted on, you can't use items, and
Yep.
that isn't cool. Daimyo Hermitar makes me mad because he has a Monoblos skull on his
I think
back,
it's kinda
and
cool,
it feels like
but
it's a sign from the devs saying, haha,
barely.
Monoblos is dead and never coming back. Also, Daimyo is in more games than Monoblos, which just adds insult to injury. Alright, Guydrome can go in alright. Bulldrome, just a bigger Bullfango,
Oh,
not really
God.
cool.
All the way down.
Rajang. Was
I
it
would say that dude is a vile creature. I fucking hate that thing. Rajang, I would say peak.
really anything
There's no
special
way you
until
can't
his
put
world
peak.
version, which made him an absolute menace. Rise did tone him down a bit, which is a shame, but at the end of the day, it's still Rajang. He could go in
Peak.
amazing. Jengaran goes in Vile Creature.
I
This
don't know
is
if
one
I
of the
fought that
most
thing.
boring monsters ever. The entire fight is just poking at his legs until he falls down. Rinse and repeat. This
Oh,
fight
yeah,
is
that's kind of
so
annoying.
boring that it'll make you fall asleep. I wish this was a joke because this actually happened to me while fighting him during a Freedom Unite playthrough. Most people that like this thing will say that he doesn't attack the hunter because he doesn't view him as a threat. You're telling me the god of the universe
Weird.
views tiny little me as a threat, but a giant crab does not? Shogun Senator makes me happy because he has a Gravios skull as a shell. I also want to point out his funny disco move. I like Shogun better than Daimyo, but not by much. You could just go right in front of him. Chameleos, amazing.
Oh, I love
Chameleon
Chameleos.
Elder Dragon sounds cool, and it is. Kushala Deora.
Oh, that's
Kushala was
peak.
pretty annoying before World, and somehow they made him worse in
Yeah, I mean, Kushala is supposed to be annoying. Having wind, it traps you everywhere. The fight's just always annoying, and every aspect of it drives you up a fucking wall. But I think he's great.
that game.
I think
the
he's
Ryzen
peak.
improved him a lot. I could actually hit Kushala and
amazing.
Rise without poisoning him
amazing.
every 5 seconds, so that definitely is an upgrade. Kushala can go in not cool.
Oh, wow.
Lunastra. I love
peak.
Gen 2 Lunastra fights since it's
I'm gonna say a lot of monsters are peak, probably. I really, really, really love Lunestra. I really, really love Teo. And that fight when you fight both of them together in World. Sorry if I spoiled anything for you, but it's awesome.
treated as an actual threat. Lunastra's world counterpart is fine. Combined Supernova with Teostra is pretty cool at least. So Lunastra can go in cool. Teostra. Gen 4 Toaster is an awful monster, but its other counterparts aren't that
Teostra.
bad. It could go right beside Lunastra and cool. White Fatalis. God,
Never fought
but
him.
he's old now. Peak monster. Fatalis, but he has red lightning. I don't need to say anymore.
pretty
Yamasukami,
cool.
another
That's
big
pretty
boring
cool. See, and this is kind of why I want to go to the old gen just to like try those fights out, but I don't want to go to the old generation games because they're so slow and boring and you got to do too much shit. I don't want to participate in that at all.
Boring monster. I never want to fight this thing ever again. Vile creature. For some reason, they didn't have the canter icon, so I'm just gonna shittily edit it in, so if it looks scuffed, sorry. But anyways, forklift monster goes in amazing. HyperX, oh no. HyperX is one of my least favorite monsters, and the urge to put him in vile creature is killing me. But I'll refrain because he definitely doesn't belong with Yama. HyperX is Gen 1 Rathian, but he never got fixed.
And then same thing with Brute Tigrex as well.
6 million times and roars a billion times. He should be known as the Stunlock monster, but at least I'm not falling asleep while fighting him, so it could go bad. Nargacuga, a flying wyvern that doesn't stunlock you. Amazing. Arguably has the best roar in the series. Ucanlos, Shovel Monster goes in amazing.
I don't know if I fought that before.
Ignactor is such an amazing monster. Sure, he does get hard.
Now we're at a point where I'm gonna know every monster, because this is when I started playing.
Maybe I should have worded that better. But unlike Basarios, you can remove their hardest.
If Cedius is on here, I would probably say cool or amazing. I want to say peak just because it's a badass underwater fight, but it's pretty boring.
Skin. Glacial Ignactor. I'm a sucker for ice
monsters.
Huge.
Yeah, amazing.
Barioth. I never had strong feelings towards Barioth. It's not better than Nargacuga, but it's definitely much better than Tigrex. So I'll put him in cool. Dan Barioth. This thing did not need to exist. Stop putting ice monsters in the desert. It doesn't work out. Alright. Barioth. Muddy Man. Going cool.
Boring.
Devilho. The hungry pickle monster. The question is, can he eat his own tail? And the answer is sadly no. So does he really deserve amazing? Yes. Giganox. The very wacky alien monster. They did the impossible and said, what if instead of one hole, it had 2 holes? Giganox will go in the cool tier. Gobble. Before I say the following,
anything with an underwater fight for me is automatically going in amazing.
Statement, I want everyone to know that Gobble is a vile creature. Now that is out of the way, I think this monster gets a bit too much hate. His fight underwater is absolutely awful, but when he goes out of water, he's not terrible to fight. Sadly, most of his fight is underwater.
My favorite part was the underwater fight, fighting him.
So, Great Baggy. I don't care about you. Let me talk about the superior.
All those guys are all bottom.
Right tier. Great Jaggy. Peak monster, baby. Deserves nothing more, nothing less. Great Jaggy is infinitely better than all the other greats and dromes.
That's fair.
If you say Great Jaggy isn't peak monster, I will think of you differently. The fight to design everything about this monster is just a 10 out of 10. Lagiacrus. Most people.
Oh God. Peak.
People know that I love Try, and I will never forget fighting Lagiacrus for the first time. I was awful at the game due to it being my first Monster Hunter, so it took me.
Guys, Monster Hunter, hear me, please. Please. Can we please have underwater fights in one of the up and coming games? Please. I'm begging you, man.
A while to kill him, but when I did, I felt unstoppable. I usually point to Lagiacrus for why underwater combat is a good feature.
That's
right.
The
hunter is going into the monster's home territory, so obviously they are going to be stronger than the hunter.
And faster,
but then you
more
make
mobile.
The monster go out of water, and the fight becomes easier because that is the hunter's territory. And no monster displays this any better than Lagiacrus.
Yeah,
I feel
Laggy
bad
is amazing.
Whoever fought Lagiacrus in GU first, because his fight is a disgrace in that game compared to his Try counterpart. Lagiacrus goes in amazing. Ivory Lagiacrus. Take Lagiacrus, put him out of the water, keep him there.
Just
what
amazing
an
or
awful
cool
thought. Why does this thing exist? But at the end of the day, it's still Lagiacrus. Cool. Abyssal Lagiacrus. Take Lagiacrus, put him in the water, keep him there. What an amazing idea.
Yeah.
Abyssal is just Lagiacrus, but he was
amazing.
never gaslit into going on land. Also, Black Lightning is so cool.
It is really badass.
Turopeko is by far the best bird wyvern in the main series. I love this goofy little fella. His big
cheesy
beak with the puffy red chin is such a great design.
Cool.
Also, he could call in Devilho, which is absolutely terrifying. Turopeko, amazing. Both Ludroths can go in cool.
All the way down.
Creature, no questions asked.
I agree.
Furgon is one of the most annoying monsters.
I hate him.
Solely
the
because
rolling.
half of this fight, you can't even hit him. He's just rolling around.
Fucking
The
annoying.
Lachion's Tri-Fight is great, but what's even better is his World Fight. I remember being very excited for a Latrion when he was announced for World.
I call him Ultreon. I'm sure I'm probably saying it wrong, but that's what I call him. I'm going to continue to call him that. but I think Ultreon is one of the most badass fights in Worlds as well. So I'd
And
say
when
peak.
I fought him in World for the first time, it blew me away. You either like Eschaton Judgment or hate it.
Oh,
and
you
I'm
hate
the
it.
love
Everyone
boat.
hates it.
I actually like the idea of breaking its horn to nerf the Judgment. I think that's genius. Also, the sound Eschaton Judgment makes. Oh my
It's
god.
devastating.
Glaceon can control all elements too, which is just insane.
Yeah.
This is a no-brainer peak monster.
Yeah, yeah.
Ceadus, peak monster. Everything about Ceadus is amazing.
Yep,
Build
that's
up,
what I was talking
design,
about.
fight, atmosphere, it checks off a lot of boxes. And it's a shame that if underwater combat never comes back, it's bye-bye to Ceadus forever. Gen Moran. Most people
Makes me
consider
sad.
Gen to be the best siege monster, which is a fair point. I used to think that as well, until I
thought
gave
this
it some
fight was
thought,
kinda cool.
and refought him solely to rank him for this video. What siege fights do right is the atmosphere. No siege monster has a bad atmosphere. All of them are good. Gen definitely has the best atmosphere out of all siege monsters. Going back and forth between the boat and climbing on his back is so cool. The problem with Gen Moran is he really doesn't do much.
Yeah,
He
you just kind of
occasionally
break
slams
his
into
things.
the boat, but that's about it. And when it's time for his second phase, he basically becomes Lao. He just waddles. Looking back at it, Gen is definitely not a peak monster, but he did bring forth one of the best fights
He's
in an
cool,
atmospheric
right? That's
way.
what I'm assuming you'll say.
Amazing. Arzuros can go in cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Ramboros. The tail swing spam is just annoying and gets old pretty fast.
I would like to see him in upcoming games for sure. Very fun fight.
Not cool. Ray Rogi's alright. Green Nargacuga. The fight itself is still Nargacuga, but why green? I don't get it. He can go in alright though. Lucent Nargacuga.
Oh,
This is how
I
you turn a
love
great
Lucent
monster
Nargacuga.
into a fantastic
Yep.
one. Nargacuga was always known to be
I'd say
a
he's
stealth
under
monster,
peak. I don't know
but
if
making
that
him go
is
invisible
amazing,
just brings it to a
I
whole
think.
new level. Also, leaving the red eyes with a trail effect visible
Having this fight in Monster Hunter Rise was really fucking cool.
at all times.
And it's very cool because you're in the exact same place. And they just like remastered how it looks. I think it's phenomenal.
Even when he's invisible is such a great detail. Peak monster. Langombi.
I
I
can
love
agree.
his design so much.
I'd say
a
it's
rabbit
cool.
that throws comedically large snowballs will always be funny to me. He could join Arzuros in cool. Nibble Snarf. Peak monster. His name is funny. Volvodon. We already discussed that farting is not cool in Monster
I
Hunter.
hate Volvodon.
Bad. Zinogre. I love fighting
huge.
Zinogre.
Me too.
He's
I'd say
generally
he's
one
amazing.
of the funnest monsters to fight.
I'd
The
say he's
dodge timing
amazing.
is
Whenever he talks about Stignet, I think that's his name. I'd definitely say that one's peak.
super simple to memorize and has a good overall move pool. He feels a lot
I'm
like a
sure I
Souls
said that
boss.
wrong.
Also, his theme gives off "I'm gonna kick your ass" vibes.
Yep, I say
Zinogre
amazing.
can go in amazing. Amatsu, peak monster.
Oh, yeah,
Design
peak.
alone says it all.
Very,
Another
very
monster that
peak.
checks off a lot of boxes. If he doesn't
I
return in
love how they
Sunbreak, I
do
will
this.
cry.
Yep,
Brachydios.
I love how they threw him in Sunbreak. That was amazing. And Bracky, for me, Bracky's peak. One of my, probably my favorite monster in the entire series.
I am one who isn't that big of a fan of Bracky, especially old world Bracky, but even World didn't change normal Bracky that much. I get why he's super popular and all, but he's cool. Dire Morales. The
Oh, peak.
big boy finally showed up. Dire Morales is my favorite
Peak,
mainline
peak,
monster.
peak.
What is there not to like about him? He's Fatalis if he was a huge volcano and had cannon wings that blew out meteors. This is where gigantic monsters started to go uphill, because Dire has an actual moveset, which is just old world Fatalis' moveset with meteors coming out of his wings.
Yeah,
The
Dire is
atmosphere
so
in this
cool.
fight is something else. When I was younger, I thought the Tainted Sea was lava. Then I grew up. I wish younger me was right, but red water's still cool. If underwater doesn't come back, then I don't want Dire back. They'll just ruin his fight. Dire Morales
That makes
only
sense.
deserves peak monster.
Very
Gen
true.
4. Kachawaka, the funny monkey anteater monster
God.
thing. And
Vile.
gone cool. Molten Tigrex is the best Tigrex, but that's not saying much. I probably
That's
like
true.
Molten more than regular
I'd say
Tigrex
cool.
because he moves slower, or at least it feels like that. A lot of people praise Molten, but I'm putting him in not cool. Najarla can go in alright. Idol Najarla
Fair.
goes in a tier higher than regular Najarla. I like that he bounces water off his scales. You have to actually be aware of where he
I think
planted
the
his
design
scales,
of
which
this
makes the
monster's
fight
really
a bit more
badass.
interesting. Narcilla. I wish there were more spider monsters, but
I hate
neither
them
of them
so much.
impressed me.
I hate
Narcilla
them.
goes in alright. Celtis by himself is nothing special.
Yep,
Not cool.
not cool,
Celtis
yep.
Queen has such a unique concept. Forcing the Celtis to combine with
That'd be
her
cool.
and pilot her like a Gundam is so
I'd say
cool.
it's cool, yep.
Metsukabra, the little froggy guy that somehow
very
never
annoying.
made it into Rise.
say
He
bad.
could go in cool. Berserk
Or not cool.
Tetsukabra. If it was Berserk Tetsukabra versus a hydrogen bomb, he'd just eat the bomb with no scratches. Amazing. Samtrios goes from fat ugly shark to Giga Chad shark in a matter of seconds.
It's pretty cool.
It was an amazing. Tiger Stripe Zamtrios. Another reason why
Same
you shouldn't
thing.
put Ice Monster in the desert. Alright. Gore Magala, the edgy emo monster.
Gorb Magala. I don't know, man. I'd say peak personally for me.
Gore Magala has one of the best fights in the
And
series.
Gore Magala
The idea
too.
of if you
I'd
damage
also-
it a
they're
lot, you
both
get
peak.
a buff. But if you don't damage it enough, you get a debuff is just genius. It makes the hunter
Yeah.
have to do a lot of damage in a
It's
certain
very
period
peak.
of time. But you still have to be careful because Gore can fold you, and you definitely don't want that debuff.
Very fast.
Another thing that makes Gore Magala so awesome is in For You, he felt like an antagonist. It felt like Gore Magala was hunting you instead of you hunting it. Which each installment after For You he's in, he is losing that special rival feeling, which was bound to happen because those stories don't revolve around him. Gore is a peak monster.
Facts.
Shigaru Magala. Everything I said
Peak
about
again.
Gore applies to Shigaru, obviously.
Yep.
But they gave him his own special arena that they took away from him in Rise. Shigaru is a peak monster.
Yep.
Ren Moran is just Gen Moran, but less cool. Still
Boring.
goes in amazing. Dalamadur. Long, stretchy snake boy. Another monster I will never
long,
forget
boring.
fighting for the first time. I remember thinking to myself, is it even possible to kill this thing?
Yeah, I
Dalamadur is
mean-
a really
I don't know.
big, gigantic.
I think he's cool looking, but I was really bored in the fight. It's just, it was so big that whenever it attacked you, I don't know. That's just my personal opinion.
Monster, and obviously
He's
I'm
like
gonna
cool
bring
himself,
up move
but
pools.
the fight was
Surprisingly,
boring.
he has a decent amount of moves. He at least has more moves than all Gen 1 and 2 Siege monsters combined. But there are still moments in the fight where he'll just stand there letting you whack him.
Yep.
You can climb on his back, which is always a cool feature in a giant monster fight. I also wanted to add that his cutscene goes so hard. Dalamadur is
His
amazing.
cutscene is really cool.
Roshi Kirin. All I wanted to say was, why was this thing never added to Iceborne? Better than regular Kirin, so it goes in amazing. Raging Brachydios.
I agree.
Let's just focus
Peak.
on World's Raging Brachydios
Peak,
because
peak,
who
peak.
cares about the old one? As you know, I'm not the biggest Bracky fan.
This whole fight, the Raging Brachydios fight, was just fucking crazy. Okay, everything, the design of it, how it acts. I don't know. I loved it. I think
But
he's
how
peak.
one phase can change so much. Raging
Oh, yeah.
Brachy's second phase is one of those Monster Hunter moments where you just go, well, I'm fucked. Him rapidly punching
Pretty
the ground,
much.
causing an explosion of slime to go everywhere is so cool.
Yeah,
Sure, area denial could be a
badass.
bit annoying, but that phase transition is so goddamn good. Raging Brachydios is peak
Peak.
monster off
Oh,
second phase
easy.
alone. Steve the Pinecone goes in amazing.
alright.
Dogmazios is a horrifying monster. This is something you'd see in the corner of your eye while having sleep paralysis. Gog has a really good move pool
I
for a
thought
gigantic
Gog was gonna be in
monster.
Rise.
Getting trapped in tar, then him exploding the tar with a mid-air
I
like
like him.
beam.
I mean, I
is
think he's-
such a
I think he's
creative
pretty
and cool
amazing.
move. Gog is a peak monster. Ostelos, the electric bug wyvern.
I like
An amazing
Ostelos.
concept for a monster.
Yep.
Bolt Reaver Ostelos.
Same
The coolest
thing.
part about Ostelos is his lightsaber horn, but the regular one doesn't use it that much. Bolt Reaver, on the other hand,
He does
uses
it
it a
all
lot,
the time.
which makes him even better. Peak monster. The thing with deviants is most of them barely change the fight, or change up the fight a lot, so I'm probably going to skip the explanation of a lot of deviants. Gameth has my favorite design out of the Fated 4, but he's just a big punching bag.
He's okay.
I
He's
have
like,
to
alright.
put him in alright.
Yeah.
Glavenus. Putting a sword
Love
on a dinosaur's
Glavenus.
tail is a fantastic
Pretty cool.
idea. Almost like they've done this type of monster before.
It's probably
I
one of
actually
the most annoying fights too. Like Glavenus is like very, very, very annoying.
prefer GU Glavenus to World's Glavenus. I think it's mostly because of GU's combat. Glavenus goes in amazing. Hellblade Glavenus. Making Glavenus able to do the Beyblade move more than twice in a row makes the fight
Yeah.
a lot more interesting. Such a simple change,
Definitely
but an
amazing.
effective one. I don't think it's much better than the
I
original
don't think it's
Glavenus
peak. I'd say
though,
it's
so
amazing
it could
too.
go in the same tier as amazing.
Yep.
Great Macau. A raptor that bounces on his tail.
Boring.
I love this thing. Amazing. Malfestio. In for control
Oh,
sound
God.
bad, but A.
Fighting this damn owl who confuses you and throws your controllers backwards and all that stuff. The fight is very, very annoying, but I do like the design. Absolutely. I would say it's
A,
pretty cool.
It's hard to get inflicted with the status effect. And B, just think backwards and you'll be fine. It's a unique status effect though. Malfestio's cool. Mizutsune. Great design and overall good fight with
Mizu, I
no
think, is cool.
complaints. The bubble mechanic is very cool. Mizutsune is amazing. Soul Seer
That's fair.
Mizusune. They added a Sanzai
Yeah,
to him.
same thing.
Amazing. Rust Razor Centaur. Giving him the ability to use the Beyblade attack because of the Glavenus skull on his back is such an awesome idea. Rust Razor is cool.
That's cool.
Thunderlord Zinogre.
Oh,
a more
huge.
badass and
Peak.
aggressive Zinogre. Peak monster. The Karkos is definitely a lower end Elder Dragon. His fight isn't that fun or
I'd say it's
exciting,
alright.
but it isn't boring either. His death animation is really cool though. So for that, I'll put him in cool. Atel Ka is a peak monster. Deception in video games can be a really good thing. We often think of bugs are weak.
I don't think
Anyone's
I've
initial
ever fought
reaction to
this
finding
dude.
out a bug is the final boss to Jiu is to think he's a joke. But then a few minutes into the fight, he pulls out a giant mecha dragon that he pilots using the strings that he produces.
Holy shit.
Also, prey mantises are the coolest bugs, so...
That is peak right there. Holy
Bloodbath
crap.
Diablos is still a Diablos, so you probably think I hate it for that reason. And you'd be completely wrong. Bloodbath is such a phenomenal monster and is by
Bloodbath is
far
peak,
the
I
best
think.
deviant. A monster getting stronger the more you hit it is such a fucked up idea, and the fact that they added it to one of the most aggressive monsters is nothing but insane. But then again, if Monoblos was more popular, then we could have Bloodbath Monoblos instead. Maybe I shouldn't think about this for too long before I change my mind. Bloodbath is a peak monster.
I agree.
Valstrax the Jet Dragon.
Definitely
Give me a
peak.
reason to hate him. You can't. Flying down from the sky and crashing into the hunter
It's
at Mach
a
speed is one
very
of the
cool
coolest
design.
moves in the entire franchise. And oh
And the
my
jet
god, that
sounds.
theme. Valstrax easily a peak
Yep.
monster. Worldborn.
Ooh,
Anjanath.
here we
Everybody
go.
loves T-Rexes.
Angie.
Anjanath is cool.
I think, yeah, I
Bezel
was gonna say
Geese.
cool.
There's nothing more terrifying
both
than
very
hearing
annoying.
a Bezel Geese roar followed up by an
Yep.
explosion when hunting
I'd say
another
they're
monster.
pretty cool,
Such a
though.
good concept for an evasion monster. Amazing. Dodo Gamma. Funny rock-eating lizard. He's cool. Great
He's cool,
Gyros
yeah.
is alright. Great
Yep.
Jagras. Funny Apanoth-eating lizard.
I think
he's
he's
alright.
boring.
Beartotus
Yep.
is not cool.
Boring.
Beartotus knows a bit
Boring.
better. Alright. Legiana goes in
Legiana's
alright.
cool.
And Shrieking Legiana goes in the same tier.
That's
The fight
fair.
doesn't really feel that different
Very
and
fair.
isn't a very creative monster. Kuliaku, more like not cool. Odogaron, another monster that I'm not the biggest fan of that is super popular.
I don't know. I like the design of it. It's just like this ravenous, like, post-apocalyptic dog is what I would just think of it. I think that's pretty fucking cool.
But all in all, he's cool.
I'd say he's
Paliumu,
amazing.
the ugly pom-pom bat, is alright.
cool.
Nightshade Paliumu. They did not
Same
need to
shit.
add sleep to this fight. He's not cool.
Yep.
Pookie Pookie. I don't even know
Boring.
what Pookie Pookie is supposed to even be, but I still love him.
It's like a
Cool.
combination of things.
Radaban. Uragon, if he was covered in tar and actually
I think
stopped
he's
rolling,
alright.
still not cool. CZ Yaku. His flash move
Boring.
is funny because no monster can dodge it, and he just comes out of nowhere, flashes the monster you're fighting, refuses to elaborate, and leaves. A true Chad. CZ is cool.
It's true.
Toby Kadachi. There's not a lot of squirrel monsters, and there's
I
even
kind of
less
like Toby
flying electric
Kadachi.
lizard
I'd say
squirrel
he's alright.
monsters. I love how unique Toby Kadachi is. Toby goes in cool. Claw of Teroth. The internet has ruined this monster. I get Claw is known as the goddess of gold, but why? Just why? Anyways, the first
Peak,
phase where
peak,
you have
peak.
to chase Claw is pretty boring.
Doing this siege in Worlds was just amazing. Or I guess it was Iceborne at this point. I think it was absolutely phenomenal. You get your group of people, you have to talk, like you really have to communicate in this fight because you have to be very particular about what you do and how you do it. I guess depending on where you are in the game. If you're just like a major DPS chat, it doesn't really matter because you can break the pieces and whatever pretty fucking easy. But I think it's really cool. In the last phase alone, for me, that's what I would say put it into peak.
Boring. But when you get to actually fight her, it's a really good fight. And her last phase has such a good atmosphere.
It's
When she fires a
amazing.
laser at the ceiling and all the gold starts to drip down.
Yeah, it's
Amazing.
so badass.
Nergigante, the
Peak.
first Gen 5 flagship. There's been an argument for
One
quite
of my
some time
favorites.
who the best 5th Gen flagship is. And I'll tell you right now, it's not Nergigante. Who is, you ask? Wait and find out. But he's still cool. Nergigante shows that not every Elder Dragon needs
No,
to
I
have an
love
element to be
Nerg.
strong.
Love
Nergigante
Nerg.
is amazing.
I'd say
Val
peak.
Hazak. I really like Val Hazak. His
Val's
design
cool.
is really cool. Hey,
Yeah.
editing me here. When I was getting footage for normal Val Hazak, I remembered that the normal one can also have your health, not just Black Veil. I don't know how I forgot about this since it's my biggest complaint about Black Veil. I still
Love
do
the
think
beautiful
normal
switch
Val
axe. Look
Hazak
at
is a
that.
lot better than Black
Big
Veil
boom.
because Black Veil's moves are not very fun to fight around, and mostly all of them can have your health. It feels like you're eating a Nullberry every second in that fight. Looking back at it, I think Val Hazak should probably be in not cool, but I think it's funny that the normal one is 4 tiers higher. Especially for the people who just skip to the end of the video to see the results to be very confused. Anyways, back to past me sounding really dumb. Black Veil Valhazak, on the other hand, is a vile creature. The design
I
is
don't know if
still
I've ever
cool,
fought.
but having the player's health is not fun to play with. He's a monster that you fight one time and never want to
Is that
fight
the one
again.
that's in Worlds?
Sadly, I
I thought
fought
that
him
was
more
just
than
a regular
once.
one.
Xeno'jiiva does nothing special and is a very forgettable final.
I think Xeno'jiiva looks really fucking cool. I think they could have made the fight a lot better. Xeno's just so big and slow. It's another one of those monsters. Does a lot of damage, sure, but big and slow is always kind of boring. Oh, I realized that I just muted the video on accident, and I just went back. Oh god, where was I? We have to be kind of near the end.
Tail move. Cool. Namiel.
We may have went too far.
Into the video to see the results to be very apt than a monster.
Okay, here we go.
One thing we've learned from Basarios is that rocks are not fun to fight. Vile creature. Denbaro. Ramboros, but if he didn't have the annoying spinning tail move.
I think it's kind of cool.
Namiel.
Yeah.
Such a fantastic design.
Namiel's
But its
badass.
fight is not enjoyable
The armor's
at all.
really
Falling
cool.
in the water over and over is just not fun. It
I'd
feels
say
like if
he's kinda-
Namiel
I'd
was
say
an
he's
underwater
amazing,
fight, it would be
personally.
a lot more enjoyable considering it looks like an underwater creature. Maybe Monster Hunter 6 will feature underwater combat and Namiel will be redeemed.
Don't
But
we
for now,
wish, man.
Namiel
Don't
goes
we
in
wish.
not cool. Safajiva. Xeno'jiiva
Oh,
grew up
peak.
and learned a supernova, which is enough to
Peak,
make
peak,
him feel a
peak.
bit special. Safi can go in cool. Jara Ishvalda. Bulldozer rock monster transforms
The
into
fight was
skinny
kinda cool.
creepy dragon. Now this is a good final boss.
I'd say it's
Jara's
amazing.
phase transition is very unpredictable and absolutely amazing. Also, I love how Shara is always looking into the camera, breaking the fourth wall. Jara is amazing. Valkana. Valkana is tied for
I
the
love
best Gen
Valkana.
5 flagship. Is it tied with Magnamalo or Malzeno? I don't know. Wait and find out. Ice dragons in general are so awesome.
Yeah,
His
I'd say
attacks
he's
are
at
really
least
well
amazing.
designed. I really love the tail piercing move. Can't wait to see him again in Sunbreak.
And the armor is like really badass too. The Sunbreak fight was pretty cool too. I like the subtle changes that they made to Valkana.
Title update 4. Valkana goes in amazing. Frontier. I feel like I'm going to be spamming amazing and peak
Ooh,
monster.
I haven't played
but
Frontier.
Come on, can you blame me? It's Frontier. Another thing before we get into Frontier is that I'm probably going to mispronounce 99% of these monsters' names because no one has ever taught me how to properly say them, so I'm sorry in advance. Ebio Rugu, the OG
Ooh, that one
Glavenus.
looks fucking
His theme is
cool.
absolutely terrifying for no reason, and he's not even that threatening. Ebio goes in cool. Akura Vashimu, a scorpion monster. Somehow a concept
sounds
that
fun.
never made it into mainline. Vashimu's alright. Akura Jebbia. The reason why they never made a scorpion monster in the mainline games is because they made 2 of them in Frontier for whatever reason. Jebbia can join Vashimu in alright. Noru Patasu. Swordfish Wyvern is so awesome. I love
Yeah,
how he
he looks
turns
pretty
snow
badass.
into raining icicles.
That's
Anno
amazing.
Is
He
cool.
looks pretty
Lava
cool.
Seoth is not
Oh,
cool.
God.
Eriganasu and Goraganasu can go in cool.
Trash.
Baru Gagaru. He sucks off the hunter. For blood, Baru goes in cool. Barikarosu. I found him very
Oh my
annoying.
God.
The combination of lightning while getting hit with the whip wing thing.
Ooh, I don't know what this thing is, but it looks really cool.
Boga Badaromu. A monster so strong that he is only a Zenith. I know I said no Zeniths, but this one is an exception.
This guy looks
Also,
cool.
if there's a Zenith version of this monster,
Wow.
then wouldn't
I
that
like the
mean there would have
design.
to be a normal version? Just saying, normal Boga for Monster Hunter 6. Maybe the
I'd say
normal
he's
one
cool.
isn't that
At
strong.
least he
I want
looks
to point
cool.
out that I love his big flabby cheeks.
Me too.
Boga is amazing. Dora Garosu. What I said about Bera also applies to him, but he has a supremacy version, which all supremacy monsters are a complete nightmare to fight. Dora is bad. Diorexu looks a lot like Tigrex, and
Yeah,
he still
I was
has the
gonna say
charge
that.
move, but he stops to charge a lightning AoE,
looks like a
and you can also
glacial
stop the charge by
Tigrex.
breaking his skin,
Like,
so it's a
literally
lot
looks
better
like
than
that.
Tigrex.
Oh, I mean,
Diorexu
he looks literally just like him. He's like the same fucking monster.
is cool. Dioragura is alright. Espinas is Sunbreak.
Ooh, I do love Espinas. I like Espinas's weapons. That's what I like the most about Espinas. Their weapon is
Fight
really
is
fucking
pretty
cool.
good, but not as good as the Frontier fight, obviously. He feels a lot more aggressive in Frontier, but at the end of the day, Espinas is still Espinas. Amazing.
Yep.
Orange Espinas. Fight in Sunbreak was a major downgrade. Again, it wasn't as aggressive, and its supernova isn't as cool. All in all, still amazing. White Espinas. This is my
Never
favorite
fought it.
Espinas. The fire and poison tornadoes
Oh
are so
my
cool.
God.
White Espinas still goes in amazing though.
That's
Bara
kinda cool.
Nakoku. The electric hop move can get a bit annoying. I also feel very bad when cutting its tail because he squirms around on the floor struggling to get back up. Baru is not that cool. Boro Kururu is the perfect monster. I
This
do
thing
not
does
care
look
what
pretty cool.
anyone says. Boro Kururu has a unique gimmick, which is whatever flower patch it
What a
sucks nectar up
strange looking
from,
face
it
on
gets
that monster.
ailment, which always keeps the fight
Pretty
fresh
kinda
and never
cool looking,
boring.
though.
And not all ailments are bad. It could drop heals for the hunter if it sucked up the green nectar. His design is so
Interesting.
good too. He's a giant hummingbird whose feathers change color depending on what type of nectar he consumes.
See, these are some of the monsters that I hope that they bring in, like all these up and coming games. You know, I've never fought this monster. I would love to fight this monster. There's a lot on this list that they also mention that I just want to fight because they look so fucking cool. I want to see what their armor looks like. I want to see their weapons look like.
The design with the amazing spiral flying animation combined with the theme makes you feel like you are fighting a true mystical
They're
being.
using
oh
the
my
magnet
god,
spike.
that theme. Themes can only add to a fight. They never make a fight worse. But his theme matches
They're using the magnet spike, and that is a weapon that I hope that they bring back into the game. I really, really do.
his design and personality so much, making it one of the best themes in the entire series. Burrow is infinitely better than every other bird wyvern, and is by far the perfect monster in terms of fight and design. Furrow is nothing but peak monster. Yasura Bazaru. What a weird, interesting monster. He blows poison bubbles, and does a front flip from off the top rope, so that's pretty cool. Alright, Gogo Moa.
That's awesome.
The big one is whatever,
Looks
but
like
the
a
baby
sloth.
Gogo Moa that rides the big one's back
Cute.
is pretty cool. The Go-Garfs are magnetic wrestling wolves. They have this one move where they throw one another at the hunter, which is pretty entertaining. Lolo Go-Garf is a pretty funny name, so he goes in
You,
amazing.
like, fight them
And Ray
together?
goes
That's
in
interesting.
Cool because Ray Go-Garf really isn't that funny of a name. Gureya Damosu. I hate this thing. It's Pasarios, but if they gave him water jets. Horrible
Oh,
idea,
God.
vile creature. Arenzaburu is cool. Hypnocatrice. A monster that never returned after Freedom Unite for some reason. He fits in with the mainline monsters
interesting.
a lot, and it's weird that the lava fish made it into another game before
And
the
this
sleeping
didn't.
turkey did. Hypnocatrice is cool.
Interesting.
Ayujikiki. Area denial and PvE games are very cringe. Cool design, but that's not enough to save him. Ayujikiki is bad. Both Orugerons are not cool. Teo Barou is the biggest Chad in the entire
Oh my
franchise.
God.
There's some
I've never fought this thing, but this fight already looks peak just from what
motives behind why
just
gigantic
showed.
monsters want to destroy a fortress
Holy
and cause
crap.
the end of an entire civilization. Like how Lao is running away from God, or Gogmazios wanting a snack. All those reasons are dumb compared to Keo Roboru's reason. That is, he thought the diva's singing was annoying. That's right, he wanted to kill everyone in Mesoporta because he thought the diva was ass at singing, which is just absolutely based. He is so strong that he is the only monster in this series classified as an ultra-class Elder Dragon.
That's
Peak monster.
crazy.
Rhea Sapusu has so many good moves. When like he puts his little drill horn into the ground and starts spinning. Or when he shakes off the crystals on his back and they explode.
Yeah, this thing looks
Such
tight.
an awesome monster.
I'd say it's
He goes in
amazing, probably, yeah.
Rhea Ganasu. Put a drill on Espinas and bam, you have this thing. Amazing. Midogaron. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to teach the dog Flash Step, but it was a good idea. Midogaron is amazing.
Holy shit.
Blinking Nargacuga. Lucent Nargacuga on crack. Peak monster.
Oh my
Odi
God.
Patorosu.
I want to fight that one. That's fucking crazy.
I definitely fucked that name up. A huge turtle with a cannon on his back sounds cool, but it's alright. I'm
It
not
does
a
sound
big
pretty
fan
cool.
of this fight. Padia Pudia. Normal Padia Pudia is pretty cool. I think his design is awesome. And isn't all that annoying
He looks
until you
very,
fight
very
Supremacy
interesting.
Padia Pudia, which just makes you want to drop a toaster in a bathtub. The Supremacy version has so many annoying moves in a very small arena.
It looks
To
really
balance out
interesting.
Normal and Supremacy, I'll put him in alright.
Is he an underwater monster too?
Baromu. If the hunting horn was a whale monster, he's very cool. Tokaradon. Kind of an annoying
looks cool.
monster. Not cool. Tycoon Zamuza. Easily the coolest crustacean. Amazing. Torridiculus is so awesome. I love
That
him.
thing
Feels a
looks
lot like if
badass.
Zinogre was a bird wyvern. And not only because they use thunder, but because Torrid is very fun to fight. Torrid is definitely amazing.
I can see that.
Unknown. The edgiest wyvern ever. Also, that violin that plays when you first encounter him just fits so well for something that's named
It
Unknown.
looks like a
What an amazing
Rathalos or
monster.
Rathian.
Maru Sabrosu. If Diablos was from hell. Just wanted to eat a cactus in
Oh
peace. He's
my
pretty
God,
amazing.
that looks cool.
Vol'jang. If Rajang was from hell. He's cool. Dena Sarisu. A monster with whip wings that I actually like. They removed the lightning and replaced it with water beams and water tornadoes, which is much more tolerable. Dena goes in cool. Daruru Risu. Does he go in Rathalos tier? I'll put him in the
I
second
mean, he
spot
looks
in
like
Rathalos tier.
Rathalos.
Howling Zinogre. Listen, I know this is Immortal Zinogre's icon from Explore, but they didn't have Howling Zinogre's icon, so I'm just gonna use this one instead. So yeah, deal with it.
Howling
Anyways,
Zinogre.
Thunderlord on crack. Peak
I was gonna say peak. I think any Zenogre's peak.
monster. Isu Furiora. An
Holy shit, this thing looks
crazy
awesome.
monster. There are very few words to describe Disu because he is just that insane.
This
Ice
fight
and
looks
fire are always a
crazy.
great combination. When fighting Disu for the first time and seeing him start flying around,
Oh my
throwing
god, he does
fireballs
ice
while
and
icicles
fire?
the size of
That's a
icebergs start coming
massive
out of the
W.
ground, you just think that this thing is just way out of
Massive.
your league. Also, World's End is such a phenomenal map, and his second phase theme just gives off
Yeah, he
I'm going
looks
to
so cool.
absolutely annihilate your ass vibes. Disu is a peak monster. Urazarin. I know I said ice and fire are always a good combination, but it's also
The
how you
design looks
implement them into a moveset.
badass.
Most Urazarin's moves cover 99% of the map, which is just so
Oh,
annoying.
that's annoying,
Majority
yeah.
of his fight is just countering because it's pretty hard to dodge his moves. And don't get me started on burning freezing Urazarin, who is
I'd say
probably
peak
the
from how
hardest
this
monster
looks.
ever.
This looks
He's
crazy.
Cool. Daruba Deora is pretty cool, but he's also a piece of shit. Crystal Ailment is so awful to deal with.
This
He's
is
not
what
cool.
Kushala turns
Juan
into, I
Zarumu,
think, right?
also known as the King of the Elder Dragons, which is such an awesome title.
It
I love
is.
how he has little wyvern
He looks
servants
pretty
that
cool.
attack with him. Juan is just so cool. I don't know how anyone can dislike him.
That'll be peak.
monster.
Yep.
Haru Domarugu. Just like hat makers in the 18th century, Haru kills hunters with mercury. He's an
Oh,
interesting monster
well, damn.
nonetheless. I also like how his wings look a lot
looks
like
cool.
blades. He's amazing. Inagami, one of my personal favorite monsters. Just an overall fun monster
thing
to
looks
fight.
pretty
And he's a
badass.
bamboo gardener. Peak monster. Raviente, the OG big, long, stretchy snake boy. Phase 1 Raviente is a lot like Gen 1 and 2 siege monsters.
Is it
He doesn't
boring, I'm
do
assuming?
much, but then with each phase he gets more and more moves. And there are a lot of Raviente phases. So he gets a lot of moves at the final phase. The only really bad part about his fight is when he coats himself in paralysis, which can get really annoying.
Oh
Also, he has
god.
the best death animation for any monster. Ravi is
assuming
amazing.
peak. Oh.
Ruka Deora. He's really cool and unique with the whole magnet
So these are like
thing,
all the
but his fight
Kushala
would be
family.
so much better without the stupid
This guy
floating
looks
rocks
so
that
cool, too.
consistently float around him. But even with that, Ruka Deora is amazing. Sean 10, another over-the-top monster.
Looks like
Second
Legia
phase,
Crest
he
a
could
little
use
bit.
water. Third phase, he could use lightning.
Oh
and in
my
the fourth
god.
phase, he gets fire, along
Oh
with
my
using all
god.
the other
This
elements.
looks like a peak
One
fight.
of the first frontier monsters you fight that makes you feel like this monster is way out of the Hunter's League. The phase transition into phase 4 is so sick. He destroys the airship you are on, and the hunters fall down into a volcanic area.
That's
Truly
insane.
a classic what the fuck monster.
Yeah, that's
moment.
pretty. That's
Peak
really
monster.
badass.
Teo Tetsuka Tora. Damn, frontier icons are very hyper realistic. If Teostra was an ice dragon and a lot cooler. Teo
Yeah,
is
that's-
amazing.
that's what it looks like.
Yamakuraya. A little bit better than Yamatsukami, but not by a lot. Vile
hell?
creature.
Looks
Ray
weird.
Madeira. The best frontier monster for last. The Ray Madeira is the definition of insanity. An
Yeah,
elder
this
dragon
thing
that
looks
uses
really
ice and
badass.
poison in very over-the-top ways, with a massive
dual
move pool in
blades, let's
3
go.
phases, making him one of the most over-the-top insane fights in the entire series.
Yeah, this guy
The
looks
Ray
wild.
Madeira is also a very fun monster, and isn't annoying to fight at all. That third phase transition though, him pretending to be dead while red ice covers their screen, then shatters, revealing a big red orb that drops from the ceiling
That's
that Ray Madeira comes out of,
crazy.
makes it by far the best phase transition. He is so
Absolutely
strong that they had
peak.
to remove the 3 fail faint condition, instead replacing it with a 20-minute timer, and every time you faint it subtracts a minute off the timer.
That's
He also has a stronger version known
crazy.
as Arrogant Ray Madeira, which is just insane that they gave
This
one of the
fight
strongest
looks
monsters in even
insane.
stronger form. I think every Elder Dragon should strive to be like Ray Madeira, an over-the-top monster with a
Holy
fantastic moveset that
shit.
is very fun
This
to fight.
looks so
An easy peak
badass.
monster. Rise. For Rise, I had to go to Photoshop because the tier list I was using didn't have Sunbreak monsters, so sorry if it becomes scuffed. And it's already scuffed by the android-ass looking icons. Achnazome goes in not cool.
Boring.
Almudron's bad. At first I
Boring.
didn't understand the hate for this monster until Magma Almudron came out
Yeah,
and opened my
Magma's
eyes.
fucking annoying.
All the apexes can go in the same tier as
Trash.
their normal ones. Bishatin can go in cool. But Blood Orange Bishatin ruined such a cool monster by removing the fruits and replacing them with explosive pine cones.
I absolutely
which was a
agree.
Horrible
I
replacement.
absolutely
The
agree.
fruits were a pretty cool gimmick, and that's why Blood Orange goes a tier below regular Bishatin.
Should be
and
dog shit.
alright.
Tier.
Gossarag. Bear
Goss
monster
is
that
cool.
freezes his arm to become a sword. He's
Yeah.
so awesome.
Really cool.
Gossarag can go in cool. Irizuchi's alright. Marshmallow
Boring.
is such a cool looking
yeah,
monster with
I'd
the
say
pink
peak.
flames and spikes
Easy.
giving him a samurai vibe. Magnamalo is amazing. Scorn Magnamalo. The big
Super
sword
peak.
sticking out of the front of his arms make him even look cooler than he already was. He's still amazing though. Both Raknadachis are alright.
Trash.
Dominicanth is pretty ugly and not very memorable. Dominicanth is not
trash.
cool. Tetradon. God, I love this chubby
Trash.
platypus. Tetradon is cool. Thunder Serpent Narwa, Narwa the All-Mother, and Wind
cool.
Serpent Ibushi
All
are
them.
my least favorite monsters. I
I'd say
don't like
they're
their
pretty
fight
cool.
at all. I just don't understand this fight. Most fights have artillery because the monster shows up at a barracks, or you chase it after in a boat.
Yep.
Narwa and Ibushi for some reason just hand you artillery. I get the cannons and ballistas are buried under their arena, but they don't have to dig them up. They also break the rock that is guarding the lever that drops a literal nuke on them. Why do they want to die so bad?
I say it's cool.
I don't get it. They're bad. They're very bad monsters. I don't like them. Garen Golem, a monkey that punches you with fire and water.
Pretty
Cool.
badass.
Lunagaron. When he was first introduced, I
love
thought
him.
he was going to be another Odogaron.
I'd say he's
Then I
amazing.
fought him and he stood up and he armored himself with ice.
Yep.
Now that's an amazing monster.
Facts.
Violet Mizutsune. Definitely the best Mizutsune. For now, he goes in
Violet was
amazing,
crazy,
but he
yeah.
might move up to peak monster the more I fight him. Gazma Gorm. Such a good final boss and really puts Narwa and Ibushi to shame. Artillery shows up in this fight because they are delivered by the people of Elgato. And when the artillery shows up, Gazma Gorm grows wings that look like the DMC5
details
logo,
of the
while a
fight
white
as
light
well.
shines and a giant nuke.
Like if we're including the details of this fight as well, I'd say it's kind of peak. But no less than amazing.
Get shot at you. Also, he could rocket boost himself with his arms in phase 2,
it's
which
really
is just
crazy.
insane. Gazma Gorm is an amazing monster.
Yep.
Malzeno, the best Gen 5 flagship tied with Velkhana. Teleporting is cool, but what's
It's
even
not even
cooler
close.
is a vampire dragon
Yeah,
that
I
can
was gonna say,
teleport.
the vampire
Malzeno also
thing-
took a page out of Velkhana's book by also having the awesome tail pierce attack. Malzeno is another amazing monster. Risen Chameleos. I actually like the Risen monsters. I think they are a really cool concept.
I'd say it's
Chameleos is
alright.
once again the best in the trio. Risen Chameleos goes in amazing. Risen Kushala Deora. I've already said that I like Rise Kushala, and Risen Kushala is only in Rise and
pretty
is cooler
fucking
than
cool.
normal Kushala.
Yep.
Though Risen Kushala is cool. Risen Teostra. The Risen style fits so well with Teostra. I also
I'd say
really
it's
like
amazing.
that he has
That
white
fight
fur
was
around his
amazing.
mane, making him look really old.
was
Risen
very
Toaster
annoying.
goes in cool. If I had to make a prediction where Risen Crimson Glow Valstrax will go on the tier
Peak.
list, I'm gonna guess
Easy.
peak monster,
Yep.
considering normal Crimson Glow Valstrax
Yeah.
is there.
Very,
And
very
that
peak.
concludes the official Monster Hunter monster tier list. Here's a scroll through of the
Alright.
entire factual tier list.
I mean,
that no
overall,
one
I
will
agree
ever
with your
complain
list.
about.
I agree with your list, dude. I think you did great.
Now do the subscribe button thing to see more Monster Hunter content. Bye bye.
We already did. We liked the video. W video.